Good morning. I hope you're doing well. I'm here hanging out in my Asian squat, and I thought we'd talk about it for a few minutes. The first thing you might be wondering is that comfortable? And the answer is, it's a whole lot more comfortable than it was when I very first started trying to do this. Getting down to this position, which is the Asian squat position, I'm all the way down, just hanging out. Took me a long time. It really did. And I started it actually months ago. Now I do it every day, and I spend at least a couple of minutes in this position, usually in the morning, but sometimes I'll pop down here and just do it during the day, just to keep myself sharp and on point about doing it. Why am I doing this? Well, it really helps with mobility and joints. And I'll tell you, it was a long process for me to get here because when I first started, I really couldn't even get beyond just a 90-degree squat, or where my thighs were parallel with the ground. It took me a while to get here, but now I do it every day and I do it fairly comfortably. When I first started doing it, what I did, and if you want to go ahead and try to incorporate this into your life, I think you're really going to enjoy the benefits. What I did is I had a counter in my kitchen at my old place back in Nevada, and I would hold on to the edge of that counter and squat down as far as I could and try to get a little bit lower every single day. It took me months to get here, but oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did, because I'll tell you what, the amount of pride that I have over being able to do this and do it comfortably is ridiculous. I'll tell you what, I feel so sassy that I can get down here and stay here. It really has, perked up my life a little bit. This is just another challenge that I've incorporated into my lifestyle to help my movement stay flexible and keep a broad range of motion for all my joints. I do this every morning. It's actually the last step of my morning movement routine. I do some spinal twists, then I do a forward fold, and then I pop down into this position and stay here for at least a minute, probably closer to 2. One of the things I can tell you is that if you end up getting down here, you'll love it, because the amount of flexibility that it creates just feels so very good. In addition, the stretch that comes from being in this position feels great as well. So I am loving it, and I'm planning on continuing it for a long time to come, as long as I can do it. There are a few suggestions that I can give you about getting down to this position. First of all, I took it slow. The last thing I wanted to do was injure myself or injure my knees or anything along that lines. I just took it really slow and worked with my body. The second thing is that once you get down here, it will feel like you can't get up without help. In other words, without using a piece of furniture to get up with. I even still feel that way sometimes when I get down here. It's like, how am I going to get up? And the answer is that you really can. It just feels like you can't. It really is just a matter of lifting yourself up. And I'll tell you, even to this day, although I do it every day, it feels like I'm not going to be able to get up, and yet I do. So it's kind of a little bit of a confusing thing that you just have to push through, and then it works just fine. If you're interested in finding out more about the benefits of the Asian squat, there's plenty of information out there, and you definitely can do your own research. What I have found for me is that it really does, make me feel better about my mobility and my body and how flexible I really can be when I put some time and effort into it. So Asian squat, definitely I can recommend it. The sense of pride you will have will carry you a long way. I know I have it. And when my daughter was here, I even showed her. I said, I got to show you this one thing. I'm so stinking proud of it. And you know what? She popped down to the floor into an Asian squat just beautifully. And I said, you know what? You're 33. I'm almost 66 years old. Come back to me when you're 66. That's where the rubber meets the road. So if you decide to try your Asian squat, working towards it, let me know down in the comments. I want to hear whether you do it already, whether you think you can do it without really even practicing, or if it's going to take you a little bit like it took me. It took me a long time to get here, but oh my gosh, I'm glad I did. I have my first crop ready to eat of microgreens. I had learned how to grow microgreens when I lived back in the Tahoe area, and I brought my grow lights and my trays along with me. Actually, I think I had them shipped. They didn't come in the car with me, but I just finished up my first round of microgreens, and you can see them right here. Here, I'm going to hold them up so you can see how pretty they are. They're just gorgeous. This time around, I only did one tray. I have the capacity to probably do 6 trays of microgreens, but what I found over the months of growing them and using them is 1 or 2 trays is pretty much all I can keep up with myself with microgreens. I use them in smoothies and I use them in salads. Tonight, I'm actually going to use these microgreens in my dinner, and I'll tell you about that in just a little bit. These microgreens, and I'm going to hold them up so you can see them. I don't know if you recognize what that is. These are cilantro microgreens. Now, here's an interesting thing. When I first started growing microgreens, I thought for sure that the microgreen that I was going to love the most would be arugula, because I love arugula so much. It's one of my favorite greens to create a salad with. What I have found over the months of growing microgreens is these cilantro microgreens are actually my favorite. You might be saying to yourself, well, cilantro is a wonderful herb, but it's not really that great for salads or for just regular eating. And the fact is that I prefer the flavor of these cilantro microgreens to almost anything I grow. They're absolutely fabulous. And I'm actually going to be using them tonight in my chicken tacos. It's really wonderful to have these on hand for cooking and preparing dishes with, because I know they haven't been sprayed. I know exactly how they've been treated from seed to finished microgreen, and I can feel really good about using them in my meals. One of the things that's really cool about microgreens and attracted me very much to growing them is, this is an interesting fact, you literally can live on microgreens alone for quite some time. So if you were out of food, but you did have microgreen seeds, you could be fine for quite a long time because they're so incredibly nutrient dense. There is a wide range of microgreens out there, and I have several different varieties that I keep on hand. Here is my bucket of microgreens, and you can see I have quite a bit. And you know, I was really thinking about it, and based on the small amount of seeds that you need to grow one of these trays, and it's probably anywhere from maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons of seeds will grow one of these whole trays. So when you're looking at a bag like this is alfalfa microgreens, you can see how many trays of greens this will create. So when I look at my collection of microgreens, what I can say is I've probably got more than enough to keep me absolutely in microgreens for at least the next year. I buy my microgreen seeds from a number of sources. These are from Johnny's Microgreens. These are from True Leaf Market. These are from Mom's Sprouting Seeds. So I'll kind of go through and show you the seeds that I have in my collection. And it's fun to change the microgreen flavors in and out, so you're always keeping a fresh flavor and a new nutrient profile in your mix of the microgreens that you're adding to your smoothies or salads or just eating on top of an entree that you prepared. So these are alfalfa microgreens, which we're all familiar with alfalfa sprouts. These particular seeds you can use in a sprouting jar as well, and sometimes I just sprout them in a sprouting jar if that's what I'm interested in. These are the cilantro microgreens, and you can see how big this bag is. So I'm good for cilantro seeds for months to come. These are my arugula microgreens, and I sometimes make notes, which I'm always really appreciative of when I am like on top of it and let my future self know what's going on. So this tells me that I use 1 tablespoon of microgreens per tray. Now, if you want to find out how to grow microgreens, I did a whole video on it several months back. I'll go ahead and have it listed down below. In addition, underneath that microgreen video are some links to professional microgreen growers here on YouTube that I have found to be the best resources for learning how to grow microgreens. These are sunflower microgreens. Oh, this is broccoli microgreens. We all know how great broccoli and broccoli sprouts are. This is a way to grow broccoli in a microgreen format. So nutritious. These are radish microgreens, nice spicy radish flavor, really lovely to add to a salad for that little bit of bite in your salad. This is a spicy salad mix, and that's the neat thing about good microgreen seed growers is that they'll come up with creative combinations of microgreens that you can just hop on, buy the seeds in a bag, and you've got a neat mix that you can grow right inside your house. Now I also have kale and pea microgreens. So you can see there's a wide variety of microgreen seeds available for whatever your taste is. What I can say about growing microgreens is I'll never go back to buying them in the store or from private growers because it is so easy and so inexpensive to grow them at home. Granted, getting the initial setup is an expense. I have a wire rack and trays that I use, and I bought the top of the line growing lights because I knew that I was going to have a greenhouse in my future, which I will, and I wanted to have grow lights that were really good and were going to last me for a long, long time. I ended up buying Spider Farmer grow lights, but you don't need to do that. You can just get a clamp light hookup and buy a grow light and stick it in there, and it'll probably cost you less than $30 for that whole setup. So you definitely don't need to spend a lot of money to get everything you need to grow microgreens. And I'll tell you what, it's so fun, it's so easy, and the yield is so nutritious and delicious. I think that if you give it a try, you're gonna love it. I just got out of the shower and have done my skincare and dried my hair, and that's about it. I'm wearing my schluppies. This is my cozy clothes. And I have on my Mendocino sweatshirt. I used to live in Northern California up on the coast near Mendocino, so I've got the sweatshirt on and Lucy's on my lap. I don't know how long this is going to last, but that's what we're doing here. And I just wanted to talk with you guys about something that I think might help a few people at least. Recently, I did a video. I think the title was Facelift Botox Fillers. I've got Lucy down here. You want to say hello, Lucy, so you'll see what I'm doing down here. She's right there. Anyway, the video was Facelift Botox Fillers, something like that. And it was all about what I have done with my skin over the last 3 years. The reason I did that video is because I have so many people who leave comments below my videos and on Instagram and that sort of thing, claiming that I've had a facelift or Botox or fillers, which I haven't. Anyway, the video kind of goes through my whole journey and I outline everything I've done just to kind of lay it to rest. And to be honest with you, one of the reasons I did that video is so when I get those comments, I can just link that video down below the comment and they can go watch it and I don't have to, wrestle with them on social media. One of the things that I stated in that video was, if you're interested in seeing the transformation of my skin, and I want to make one thing clear right here. We're not talking about my skin. What we're talking about is mature skin when you go from not taking care of mature skin to taking care of mature skin. So this is not unique to me. This, in my mind, based on my results and my experience, could happen for anyone. So one of the things I suggested is if someone wanted to see the transformation, to just go on over to my channel, go all the way down to the bottom and look at some of my very first few videos, then scroll up and watch some videos from a few months later and all the way up till today. And you really could see a very clear journey of what mature skin can do with good nutrition. Because truly, all I've really done is gotten my skin healthier. All right, so now Lucy's chewing on me. I'm gonna go put her up. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And Lucy's hanging out with a bone. It dawned on me a couple of days ago that I really hadn't looked at my very first videos in a long time. So I went over there and did that. And I'll tell you what, I was so shocked and surprised because I have been on this journey for 3 years now, and I had forgotten what my skin and just my body overall looked like compared to how it looks today. So I want to go ahead and show you some clips from my very first videos so you can see the difference for yourself. One of the first things that I notice is just how different my skin moves on my face from just giving my skin good nutrition using some at-home devices and better nutrition from food. In other words, my diet has cleaned up. And when I say my diet has cleaned up, I mean I have shifted almost everything. When I first started my channel, I was really in a very tough personal place. So my health had gone downhill. I had gone through a really challenging time. I hadn't taken care of my skin, so there was really no area of my health journey where I was winning. I wasn't winning at all. So along the way, not only have I incorporated very affordable, very effective skincare products into my routine, as well as some very, what I consider to be affordable at-home devices, but I've changed my diet tremendously. I went from eating a lot of sugar and a lot of processed foods to really eating very clean now. I rarely have sugar, from time to time, but it's not something that's in my life on a daily basis. It is amazing to me, the healing powers of the human body. It really, really is. The woman that you're looking at from 3 years ago was a 62-year-old woman who hadn't taken care of her skin her whole life and was really unhealthy. In other words, I did not have a good diet. I did not have a good exercise plan. I wasn't moving my body. I just wasn't doing anything to support a healthy lifestyle. Today, that's very, very different. And when you ask me what did I do that I think made the most impact, the answer is I just stuck with it. What happened for me is that each little change created the next little change, which created the next little change. So I started using good skincare, and then I tweaked my diet a little bit. And then I gave up sugar. And then I started moving my body. And then I started using one at-home device. And then I learned about more of them. So every step along the way, I just incorporated one more thing that was a healthful component into my routine. When I first started, gosh, I just was almost running on empty. Today, it's very, very different. I feel better physically. I think my skin looks better. And what I want to do is really give anyone who's struggling or thinks they can't make an impact on their skin a whole lot of hope. Because, oh my gosh, can you really make a difference in your skin and how your body looks and how your body feels. And at the end of the day, we just all want to feel better. I mean, gosh, looking good is great. I suppose it's a nice thing to feel proud about your appearance, but feeling better is really the prize. It's really the grand prize, because when you feel better, you're happier, you're more productive, you're just a better friend, a better family member. Everything blossoms when you feel better. And I just feel a whole lot better. If you're feeling discouraged, if you're feeling confused, if you don't know where to start, if you're not sure if it's going to work for you, I can almost guarantee you that if you just take one healthful step at a time, you too will turn around in a year or 2 years or 3 years like I have and look back and realize what an important, powerful journey that you went on. And the differences can be profound. So I really just want to give encouragement for those of you who are just starting, or maybe you're a few months in and you're not sure it's going to work for you, or if you're a year into it, keep going. Every little step matters. And I'm still taking little bitty steps today. I'm adding one more type of movement exercise, or I'm adding one more tweak to my diet, or I'm drinking just a little bit more water and a little less coffee. All those decisions lead us to a place where our body really responds. And I am convinced that we get old before we need to. I look around me and I see women that are much younger than I am with lower mobility, less energy, just kind of feeling sort of tapped out and out of gas. And that's really not necessary. We can take charge of not only our skin, but our health and our energy and everything that comes with being human and really make a difference. So I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit of my journey and encourage you to stick with it wherever you are on the way. One little step at a time does it. Do I backpedal sometimes? Of course I do. I'm human just like everyone else. But when I have a day that's not quite as healthful as I would have liked, I just get my energy together and try to do a little bit better the next day in supporting my long-term health. So keep at it, add one little thing at a time, and I think you'll really be pleased with the outcome. I had some extra time this morning and I was feeling like I just wanted to get out of the house. So I decided to come out to Ryan's place, Grassroots Nursery. I haven't been out here in a little bit and I want to see what he has. It's always so comforting for me to walk around a nursery. Do you do the same thing? It's like if I want to get outside and do something really pleasant and really nurturing, I go to a nursery. So I'm here at Ryan's place. I want to see what he has available for fall and winter vegetable starts. And I just want to look around because it's always so pretty here. Here is something I've never seen before, and let me know if you're familiar with this. These little containers that just look like they're filled with rocks, this right here apparently is a plant, because look, it's in each one of those surrounded by these little rocks. And when I look, the only thing that I see that denotes what it is this little tag right here, and I don't know if it reads Pure Stone or Pure Stone. I've never even seen this before, and I might have to get one just because I'm so dang curious. Isn't that interesting? I wonder if it gets bigger. Honestly, you guys, I think I'm gonna have to buy one just so I can see what it does. Here's what I have in my little cart. I'm getting 3 of these red leaf lettuce plants. I like to plant these and use the cut and come again process. So I'll take off the outer leaves to make a salad with, and then it'll grow more leaves. So it's a way to keep the lettuce going for a little while. I ended up getting 4 more collard starts. I'm really curious about the whole collard thing, and I think this variety of collard is different than the one that I already have planted in my green stock planter. And then over here, this right here is broccoli. I was not going to plant broccoli this season because I really don't have the room for it. But I thought, you know what, I'll just give it a try and see what it does so I can just become familiar with how a broccoli plant matures, how you need to care for it, what type of pests I need to watch out for, that sort of thing. And then back over here in the corner is one of those little interesting stone plants or something. I don't know. I'm going to ask Ryan about that. I find that so fascinating. I'll take that home and we'll keep an eye on it and watch what it does. I've ended up adding another plant to my cart. Look at this. This is a sedum, kind of like a cactus, only different. But it's such a cute little green ball of fluff. I couldn't pass it up. I'm going to put this out on my front porch. I hope it lives there. Anyway, isn't that just so adorable? It looks like something from an alien planet or something. Couldn't resist. I'm all checked out and headed home with my plants. I don't know if I'm going to plant them today or a couple of days from now. We'll see, but I'm really excited about the new babies I'm bringing home. So in the South, boiled peanuts are a big deal. I had never heard of boiled peanuts before I moved here. But apparently there's a lot of emotion around boiled peanuts. And I'm here with my buddy Ryan out at Grassroots Nursery. Everybody. And he's been talking smack about his boiled peanuts, like he's got some good stuff. I've never tried them. I'm going to try them today for the first time. And I have to be honest with you, they sound a little disgusting.
If you're going to live in Aiken, South Carolina, you have to at least try them.
Okay.
Because boiled peanuts are they're just a Southern tradition. They're a Southern thing.
Okay, so tell us about these. Right. On the West Coast, we eat roasted, salted in the shell peanuts. Mm-hmm. We would never boil them. So
what you do, so you have to have green, fresh peanuts. And then I cook them in a pressure cooker. So you add, I think it's about 1.5 cups of salt for 2 gallons of water. And then you can put whatever seasonings in you want. People use crab oil, or you can do, any type of spice, crushed red pepper. And then I pressure cook them for about 1.5 hours. Then you let them sit overnight, and that's the trick. You let them sit, and then whatever, flavored water is almost like a brine. So then the peanuts overnight soak up all that goodness. And so I just used a little bit of, it's actually called Slap Your Mama hot sauce.
That's a hot sauce that's local around here. It's called Slap Your Mama.
Yeah.
Oh, they're warm.
Yeah, you have to eat them warm. So you'll see them on roadside stands.
Okay.
The hot boiled peanuts. They'll have the sign out there, and they got them in a big boiler. So you just open them up like that.
Right.
And suck them out.
Okay. All right.
And they are salty.
I love salty, so that's not a problem.
But they're delicious.
Here we go.
And even if you don't like it, you have to say you do because they're mine.
Oh, my God. Mm-hmm. Oh.
Not bad, huh?
Okay, I'm going in for another one.
And I got you 2 bags just for you.
So you guys, they're soft, they're wet when you crack them.
Yeah, you suck the juice out.
And okay, I gotta get my little moves down here. Come back here. So you go like this.
There you go. You have to make that noise. Isn't that good?
Wow. Okay. First of all, good job.
Thank you.
They're very, very tasty. They're very salty, but they have a good flavor. I'm not tasting a kick. Did you put hot sauce?
Not a lot, just a little.
Just a little bit, just to give it that little flavor.
Just a little twang.
Okay, so the flavor is amazing. I'll give them that. The texture is so different because they're soft and mushy, and that sounds gross, but not mushy in a bad way, just mushy in a different way. So actually, they're pretty good. And apparently here in the South, this is what you eat at a ball game.
That's what you eat at a ball game. You get you a good cold beer and you eat some boiled peanuts and you watch the game.
Well, this was a first. This was a first. These are pretty doggone good. I'm going to sit here and eat the rest of these peanuts and talk to my friend Ryan.
Awesome. I'm proud to say that you had my boiled peanuts as your first boiled peanuts.
I did.
You are a true Southerner now.
I'm very grateful. Thank you. We're going to start a new series here on Pretty Over 50, and it's called I'll Tell You Mine If You Tell Me Yours. And I'm not kidding you. You have to tell me yours. So today I'm going to start with a story. And you guys know I lean towards the metaphysical side of life. Why? Well, there's lots and lots of reasons. One of them being I've had so very many experiences that break the bounds of this 3D existence. Truly, I've had so many that I have forgotten more than I remember anymore. And I'm going to share one of them with you today. But this is not for free. You have to tell me yours. And I know, just by sheer numbers, that so many of you have a story that's going to be similar or along the same veins as this one. Like I said, I've had so many of these experiences. This one is simultaneously extremely boring and extremely fascinating, all at the same time. This experience happened when I was in my early 30s, years ago. I'm going to be 66 next month. So gosh, 30-something years ago, that's how long ago this was. At that time, I was in a women's group. And it was one of those groups where you got together every week and you talked about your feelings. You know, that's what we did back then. And this group of women, we had been together for a long time. We knew each other very intimately. We were very close. It was a really super comfortable group of women. We were friends. We supported each other. So it was a very safe space for me. We were meeting that evening and we were just finishing up with our little, talk about our feelings group. And we were just in this big room, we were all sitting in different places. And as you do, when you get done with something like that, everybody sort of stands up at the same time because we're getting ready to leave. So everyone stands up. I stand up. And the next thing I know, I'm up on the ceiling. I'm up on the ceiling looking down at all these women. And the predominant thought that I had while I was up on the ceiling looking down was, I don't know which one I am. I didn't know which body to go into. And it was as significant and as quick as that. I stood up. Next thing I know, I'm up on the ceiling looking down. Once I identify the body that I'm supposed to go into, I'm back in my body and that's where my consciousness is. So you can see it was really quick and a little bit boring. Like, what's the big deal? You stood up, your consciousness shifted to a different perspective, and then you were back in your body. Here's the interesting thing. It is very rare for someone in a physical body, in a 3D physical meat suit, to shift their consciousness out of their body without really, really trying, or having studied for years to figure out how to leave the body and shift your consciousness. It happens a lot during near-death experiences where it's a big issue with the body. The body is struggling. Your consciousness will pop out. People have reports all the time of being in the operating room and seeing, being up on the ceiling and looking down and watching the operation, that sort of thing. That's really common. What was unusual about mine is that there was no life-threatening situation. Nothing was different. It was a safe space. I was truly comfortable. So for me to leave my body, or my consciousness to leave my body and look down on the situation from a different perspective, is pretty rare. Now, here is the interesting thing that I really want to communicate if you've never had an experience like that, and I've had a few. That's just one of them. My consciousness, in other words, the feeling of self, how I felt, how I was thinking, how I was perceiving, was exactly like it is now, like right in this moment. I was exactly who I am, only I was looking at everything from the point of view of the ceiling, with this one exception. My energy or my thought process or my consciousness was crystalline, was just as crystal clear and shiny and bright and clean. And those are the words that I can come up with to describe it. And let me make a comparison. Right now, my consciousness is the same. However, I have this kind of running dialogue in my head. Have I paid my cable bill? I've got to go to the grocery store. Did you call back that person? You've got all this work to do. You've got this, you've got that, the other thing. In other words, there's a constant dialogue of kind of low-grade stress or responsibility, or kind of, I would call it sort of a muddling up of my energy. In other words, my energy does not feel as crystalline, as clear, as light and bright as it did in that moment when I was up on the ceiling. The other interesting thing about that is that I remember and I can feel how my consciousness felt just as clearly 30-something years down the road as if it just happened. I mean, it is etched in my very soul. I can recall how brilliantly clear and just crystalline that consciousness was compared to the consciousness that I have in my everyday life. So there we have it. That's just one of the experiences I've had. And what I have noticed, and you guys tell me down in the comments below, those of you who have had experiences that would fall into this category, I find that they happen when I'm not thinking about it, when I'm not trying to have a different consciousness or a different vibration. It sort of happens when I'm very relaxed, when I'm thinking about nothing, when I'm just totally going about my day, without a care in the world, pretty much. That's when these experiences seem to come in. So that was mine. And now you have to tell me yours. Kind of metaphysical stuff. It won't always be on this topic. When we move forward with the other, I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours. But for this one, let me know what interesting experiences you have had, because we would love to hear from you. I'm all gussied up because in a few minutes I have an online date with the middle-aged Minx. Some of you might remember that, gosh, I think it's been about 2 months ago, maybe a month ago or so, I can't remember. I interviewed the middle-aged Minx because I was just so fascinated with her. She is so fun. I spend my Sunday mornings with a cup of coffee and I watch the middle-aged Minx here on YouTube. The gal that is the middle-aged Minx is Jo Good, and she is a BBC presenter in London. She lives in London, and I'll tell you what, there is something about her life that is so fascinating to watch. She's very different from me. She lives in the city, loves the city. I live in a small town. I love small towns. She's very urban. I'm not. I'm more rural. But I do love her love for life and her zest and her energy. She's just so very fun. So I interviewed her because she's interesting and she's well known and she has a following and this and that. I mean, there's a reason to interview her because, you know, she's someone fun and special. She's now going to interview me, which is ridiculous because I am not well known and I don't have a huge following and that sort of thing. But I think she's doing it just to be gracious and kind of turn the tables and find out a little bit more about me. We're actually going to jump on a Zoom call in a few minutes, and I thought I'd show you guys my office. You're going to crack up when you see it, and how it works when I hop on a Zoom call. This is my office right here. Really, this is where I do the majority of my work when I'm not filming. And as you can see, it is simply a little rolling table that I put right in front of my couch. And on it is my computer and my date book and whatever book or notes that I'm working with right there. This table is so very handy, first of all, because it rolls clearly because it's on wheels, and you can adjust it up and down with these little knobs right here, so I can make it higher or make it lower. So when I am editing or doing work on my computer, this is where I'm sitting, and it's so comfortable because I'm on a cozy couch. I can put my feet up on the ottoman here if I want to, and it works really well for me. I've been working this way, gosh, 4 years, and I don't see any reason to get a real big girl desk or that sort of thing. This works great for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit over there on the couch with that pillow behind me and hop on the Zoom call with Joe. I will be able to raise the table up or lower it depending on how I want to look on the camera when we start our conversation. So this is exactly where I do all my work. Over here is my little basket with all my important things like nail files and clippers and tweezers and City Lips Beauty Clear Plumping Lip Gloss, some water, and then I always keep my phone right over here so I know where it is. I'm going to be hopping on that call with Joe in just a few minutes. I'm all dressed up. I've got my lipstick on, so there's not much else left to do except just wait until our time. I'm not sure when Joe's going to be posting the video of the interview with me. I'm still cracking up. Who on earth would want to interview me? Anywho, if it's live, when this video goes live, I'll go ahead and have it linked in the description box down below. If it's not live yet, when it goes up, I'll put the link down below. It should be fun. Joe is just a great gal, and I'm sure it's going to be a great time spending it with her. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this vlog. I hope you found it fun, useful, and helpful. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. You guys know it just tickles me when you take a few minutes out of your day to spend it with me. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. Again, I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything makeup, skincare, and lifestyle for the over 50 woman. Make it a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.